Guys, I have an uncomfortable but important truth to share with you about your sex life. You're not gonna wanna hear it. I don't even wanna say it. There is one relationship in your life that you have got to examine in order to understand how you do romantic and sexual relationships, and that's the relationship with your mom. In fact, it's also the relationship with your dad, or the relationship with whoever raised you. Who is your primary caregiver? Who were the adults that took care of you when you were a youth? Here's the important and uncomfortable truth. You learned so much about relationships before you were even close to understanding what a relationship was. The way that you related to your parents dictated how you got fed, when your diaper was changed, your very survival for the first several years of your life. And guess what? So much of your personality, your expectations, your beliefs about the world were formed before you even started having memories. These relationships are foundational to the way that you relate to men and the way that you relate to women. Here's an example that I often see from my clients in my coaching practice. If a man's father was known to be kind of a playboy or a flirt, if he often cheated on his mom, that man will sometimes become sort of afraid of his own sexuality because he sees how much damage his dad's sexuality caused to his mom. If he was really close to his mom, he might end up kind of suppressing his sexual wants and needs, desires. He might end up marrying a woman who doesn't want to have sex with him and getting stuck in a sexless marriage because inside he thinks that his sexuality is dangerous because he watched his dad hurt his mom. Another way that this can go down is, say your dad was very sexually repressed, kind of the opposite of the example that I just gave, and your dad was sort of a sexless person. He didn't display his like masculine sex and sexuality. He didn't flirt with your mom. He didn't sort of have an erotic life. Sometimes men will go so far in the opposite direction that they will end up searching for sex and needing sex to be a part of their identity, a part of what validates them. They're gonna always be looking to women to make them feel like they're whole. And when there's no female partner, no woman that he's having sex with, he might end up feeling like he's incomplete and too much like his dad because he's been working so hard to not be like his dad. And again, the same is true for your relationships with your mom. If your mom was over engaged in your life, if she was too engaged in taking care of you and you almost developed a fearful, anxious attachment with her, then you might either reject women who are like that, or you might end up in a relationship with a woman who's like that. You might end up in a relationship where you constantly feel smothered by even the smallest things. And therefore you pull away, and therefore you leave her feeling unsafe, like she can't depend on you and trust you because you don't feel like you're really there. And then the relationship ends, sometimes in divorce, sometimes really painfully. Alternatively, if you had a mom that you couldn't really count on, your emotions were so overwhelming to her that she sort of just avoided them, you might end up being a very avoidant yourself. You might end up seeing women as a threat to your freedom, and at the same time wanting to have a wife, wanting to have a great sex life, but being literally afraid of even putting your penis inside of your wife because it represents being caged, being trapped, being smothered by you. There are as many ways that this can play out as there are people on planet Earth, but all of it sort of falls into a handful of different categories. Did you want to be like that parent or not like that parent? Did you want to please that parent? Did you want to be the opposite of the other parent or just like them? Did you feel smothered or did you feel abandoned? Did you feel like you had to take care of yourself, or did you feel like you were always at threat of not getting what you needed? All it takes is for you to do a little bit of detective work and ask yourself what it was like for you growing up, how the relationship between your parents looked, how you related to each of them as individuals. It can be helpful to work with a coach or a therapist in order to do this. If you want help from me or my team, you can apply at the link in the description below. But I promise you, no matter what, if you take a little bit of time, maybe journal, maybe meditate, maybe talk to someone who you trust about your parents and about the relationships that you witnessed growing up, you will see benefit. You will understand more. You will become more conscious of the ways in which you are operating both in the bedroom and in dating, relationships, marriage, etc. It will also give you great information on the kind of father you are, because a lot of dads either want to be not like their parents or just like their parents. This is going to make you a better employee. It's going to make you a better person all around if you can understand understand this part of your psyche that is so deep in your subconscious, but not impossible to bring up to the surface. I'm Caitlin V. I hope that you find this helpful. And if you did, please subscribe to my channel. I will see you here later this week. Bye.